Hello, Scorpio woman. If you're here, quietly making it through these long nights alone, I want you to know I see you. I see the strength behind your silence, the quiet weight you carry when no one is watching. And I want you to understand something important. This moment, this season of sleeping alone, is not a mistake. The universe isn't punishing you. It's preparing you. It doesn't matter whether you're single, separated, widowed, or if the one you love is simply far away right now. What matters is this: you are alone. And that is not random. It is divine timing. It is intentional. The universe placed you here in this exact place, in this exact stillness, because something within you is ready to shift. This isn't emptiness. This isn't abandonment. This is the beginning of something sacred. You are not being asked to endure loneliness for the sake of pain. You are being asked to feel your own presence again, because for far too long, you've been holding space for others, losing pieces of yourself, trying to make room for people who couldn't truly see you. And now, the universe is giving you the space to return to yourself. Not the version of you that adapted to survive, but the woman you were always meant to become. And if something inside of you has already started to change, if you've felt more distant from old patterns, more aware of what no longer fits, more connected to a truth you can't quite name, that's not your imagination. That's the transformation beginning. It's quiet, it's subtle, but it's real. And this is where your story starts to shift. There's a reason Scorpio is symbolized by the phoenix, not just the scorpion, but the mythical bird that burns itself to ashes only to rise stronger, brighter, and more unshakable than before. And right now, whether you feel it fully or not, that's exactly what's happening inside of you. Every night you sleep alone. Every night, you lay your head down in silence with no one beside you, is a night your energy begins to reconstruct itself. It may feel like nothing is happening. It may just feel like stillness, like routine, like quiet, but beneath that surface, there is a powerful unraveling and rebuilding taking place. Because when a Scorpio woman is stripped of external noise, distractions, and attachments, even the ones she once thought she couldn't live without, she begins to return to something sacred and ancient within her. It's not just solitude. It's purification. Every emotion you've buried, every truth you've suppressed to keep the peace, every part of yourself that you gave away in order to be loved, all of it is surfacing. Not to destroy you, but to be seen, healed, and burned away. This is not emptiness. This is energetic cleansing. This is your system detoxing from all the roles, expectations, and compromises that dulled your light. You are not falling apart. You are being refined, piece by piece, layer by layer. You are being returned to the most essential, magnetic, and unshakable version of yourself. The version that doesn't chase but attracts, that doesn't explain but embodies, that doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. That woman, the one who has walked through fire and learned how to rise, she's waking up inside of you now. And she needs this silence, this space, this season of being alone, to fully emerge. Because this is not the death of who you are, it's the rising, and it's already begun. This is the moment when the woman inside you begins to rise, not the version of you that was molded by survival, by silence, by compromise, but the one who has always lived beneath the surface, waiting for the storm to pass so she could breathe again. Solitude, for others, may feel like isolation, but for you, Scorpio, it becomes sacred ground. It sharpens your senses, deepens your perception, and awakens your most primal form of knowing, that inner truth that doesn't need proof, only presence. In these quiet nights, when no one is watching, your intuition is being sharpened like a blade. and your clarity is no longer something you search for. It simply arrives. Without apology, without hesitation, and with every layer of stillness, something begins to peel away the old stories, the outdated roles, the lies you told yourself to stay small, to stay needed, to stay safe, the version of you that tolerated less than she deserved, that stayed too long in places that couldn't hold her, that dimmed her light so others wouldn't feel overshadowed. She begins to dissolve, not out of bitterness, not with anger, but with quiet power, because your soul has outgrown those patterns, and now they can no longer hold you. You're not here to sacrifice yourself for love. You're here to become love fierce, clear, undiluted. Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth. And you, right now, are standing at the threshold, no longer who you were, not yet who you are becoming, but fully present in the sacred in-between. And that's where the true transformation happens, not in the loud moments, not in the visible changes, but in the quiet decision to never again abandon yourself to keep someone else comfortable. This is your rising. It's not loud. It's not dramatic, but it's irreversible. You are becoming a woman who is not defined by what she lost, but by what she chose to become in the aftermath. And that choice to return to your power, your knowing, your truth is what makes you unstoppable. Transformation doesn't always announce itself with thunder. Sometimes, it begins with the smallest shift, a breath held longer than usual, a conversation you no longer feel the need to continue, a space you walk away from without guilt. And yet, these quiet moments are where the truth begins to take root. You may have already noticed the signs, subtle at first, but undeniable once they settle into your awareness. People who once had power over your emotions no longer move you the same way. The drama that used to hook you now feels like background noise. You feel less drawn to chaos, more anchored in calm. And that is not coincidence. That is your nervous system, remembering what it feels like to be safe inside your own energy. Your body is the first to notice the shift. You might walk differently now. Not because anyone's watching, but because your spine remembers how it feels to carry dignity again. Your voice might sound steadier, your boundaries clearer, your presence more magnetic, and those around you are starting to feel it too. Even if they don't know why. Some will be drawn closer, captivated by your quiet power. Others may pull away, uncomfortable with the way you no longer shrink. Let them. You are no longer available for spaces that require your self-betrayal in exchange for belonging. And in the stillness of night, your dreams may begin to speak in new languages, symbols, sensations, visions that feel both ancient and strangely familiar. Don't dismiss them. The subconscious knows before the mind can make sense of it. You're no longer just going through life. You're tuning into a different frequency, one that responds to truth, not performance, one that recognizes alignment not by how it looks, but by how it feels in your bones. The more you return to yourself, the more your external world will begin to rearrange, not because you pushed or forced, but because your energy no longer allows what's out of sync to remain. And the most beautiful part of this transformation? You stop searching. You stop needing validation. You stop proving, because the woman you are becoming is no longer waiting to be chosen. She has already chosen herself. As you rise into this new version of yourself, the universe will begin to respond, not just with blessings, but with tests. This isn't punishment. It's precision. Because when a Scorpio woman awakens to her power, the universe doesn't just ask, "What do you want?" It asks, "Are you truly ready to receive it?" And the way it asks is through choices, through opportunities that look tempting, familiar, even urgent, but carry the energy of the old life you just walked away from. In the days and weeks to come, You may begin to notice doors opening, invitations, romantic attention, old connections reaching out again, new situations that seem promising on the surface, and some of them will feel easy, comforting, seductive even. But ease isn't always alignment. Comfort isn't always clarity. And not everything that glitters is meant to be held. These moments will ask you to pause, to listen beyond the surface, to ask yourself, does this match who I've become or who I used to be? Because the real test is not whether you can attract, it's whether you can discern. The truth is, not everything that comes into your field now is meant to stay. Some things are sent simply to mirror who you no longer are. And if you choose to engage with them, not from fear or lack, but from consciousness, you will feel the difference immediately. Your body will speak first, a tightening in the chest, a souple hesitation, a quiet no that rises, even when your mind tries to rationalize a yes. Trust that. Trust your body now, more than your stories. Because your body has been rewired by solitude to only open to what honors your energy, not drains it. And this is the hardest part, saying no when you're lonely. Saying no when something looks good enough. Saying no even when your heart longs for connection. But this is the choice that changes everything. This is the crossroads between repeating the old cycle and stepping fully into the life you've been preparing for. Because if you settle now, just to soothe the ache of being alone, you'll have to start the process over again. But if you hold steady, if you choose presence over panic, wholeness over hunger, what comes next will not just meet your standards. It will exceed every silent prayer you whispered in the dark. What you may not realize yet is that this transformation you're undergoing isn't just about healing your heart or raising your standards. It's also preparing you for something far more sacred: leadership. And I don't mean leadership in the way the world often defines it. Loud and external, full of titles and applause. I'm talking about a different kind of power, the kind that lives in your presence. Not your performance. The kind that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands respect. The kind that walks into a room and shifts the energy without saying a word. Because when a Scorpio woman rises from her own ashes, when she's faced her darkness and refused to let it break her, she becomes the kind of woman other people look to, not for answers, but for truth. And you will start to feel this shift. You'll notice people coming to you, drawn not to what you do, but to who you are. They'll sense your depth, your steadiness, your clarity. Some won't be able to name it, but they'll feel it. And whether you realize it or not, you will become a mirror, showing others what it looks like to choose wholeness over fear, to walk away from almost and wait for real, to stop performing for love and start embodying it. But with that power comes responsibility, because the more you embody your worth, the more you will be called to protect it, not with walls, but with discernment, not with coldness, but with clarity. You are no longer meant to explain yourself to those who do not understand your depth. You are not here to convince anyone to stay. You are here to live in such alignment that those who are meant for you feel safe in your presence, and those who are not cannot hold your gaze for long. This leadership is quiet. It's sacred. It's born from your nights alone, from every tear that didn't make sense at the time, from every moment you chose yourself instead of begging to be chosen. And it's in this space that you'll finally understand your transformation was never just about you. It was about every woman who will one day watch you, listen to you, or simply feel your presence and say to herself, if she can rise from that, maybe I can too. There's something the universe needs you to hear, and it may not come wrapped in comfort, but it will arrive in truth. This season you've been walking through the silence, the solitude, the aching spaces where you've had no choice but to face yourself. It was never about abandonment. It was about realignment. You were not being punished. You were being remembered by the universe, by your soul. by the part of you that always knew you were meant for more than survival. Every lonely night you endured wasn't empty. It was sacred space. Every moment you chose to stay with yourself instead of reaching for what was convenient or familiar sent a message into the fabric of the universe. I am ready for what is real. I am ready for what is true. And the universe listened. It always does. The hard part is that divine timing rarely moves on our schedule. But it moves with precision. And right now, everything is shifting within you, around you. And for you, you may feel more sensitive, more emotional, more raw. That's not weakness. That's access. You are closer to your own truth than you've ever been. And the more honest you become with yourself, the clearer the path will become in front of you. The dreams you've been having, the subtle changes in your body, the way people look at you differently, these are not coincidences. These are confirmations, signals that your energy has changed, that your frequency has risen, that you are no longer vibrating at the level of desperation or doubt. You are vibrating at the level of wholeness. And from this place, you will no longer attract what you have to chase. You will no longer tolerate what asks you to shrink. You will no longer stay where your soul is starving just because it feels familiar. What's coming next is not just an answer to your prayers, it's a reflection of your evolution. And when it arrives, you'll understand why the waiting, the aching, the unraveling had to happen exactly as it did. So stay steady. Stay grounded. Don't lower your standards now. Don't reach for what you've already outgrown just because the waiting feels unbearable. Because you are not waiting. You are preparing. And when it's time, you won't question whether it's right. You'll know it in your body, in your breath, in the way your soul softens instead of bracing. That's how you'll know it's finally aligned. You didn't come this far to settle. You came this far to remember. And now that you have, your life will never be the same again. So if these words found you tonight, it's not by accident. It's because you're almost there. You've walked through the fire without fanfare. You've faced yourself in silence. And now, you're standing at the edge of something new, not just a new chapter, but a new self. This version of you no longer asks, "Will I be chosen?" She asks, "Do they deserve access to me?" And that shift, Scorpio woman, is everything. Because the moment you stopped waiting to be seen, you became undeniable. Whatever is coming, love, purpose, deep alignment. It's not just on its way. It's being drawn to you by the frequency of your becoming. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep choosing yourself, even when it feels quiet, even when it feels hard. And when it finally arrives, whatever it is you've been praying for in the dark, you'll look back on these nights alone, not with regret, but with reverence. Because it wasn't loneliness. It was the sacred space where you rose.